What's up, Leafs Nation? Whew, what a game last night. My goal light went off so many times in the first period that, you know, my wife thought the goal light was glitching. 16 seconds into the game, Galchenyuk scores a goal. 3:24 Tavares, 10:38, 17:21 Marner. That game, the Leafs completely dismantled the Montreal Canadiens. I don't even know why they bother showing up, especially when they're going to put a goalie like Caden Primo in net. I'm not saying I'm not, making any dispersions about this kid's talent or what he can be or what he can't be in the NHL, but on a back-to-back night after losing to the Ottawa Senators the way that the Montreal Canadiens did, put Caden Primo in net and then have the Leafs shell them the way they did. I don't know how these guys, it is what it is with the Montreal Canadiens. Last year they got handed a playoff spot. They got a spot into the play-in round with a 500, you know, record. They got a 500 record this year. In the off season, everything was made about, oh, Mark Bergevin made so many great moves, and oh, Mark Bergevin went out and got Joel Edmondson and Josh Anderson, and thank God you went and got Jake Allen. Thank God. Imagine the Montreal Canadiens were the team that lost Carey Price and had to run the season with, you know, Caden Primo and God knows who else they had in the system. Wow, that would have been rough, man. That would have been so rough. They definitely wouldn't be a playoff team, that's for sure. But, Jake Allen has done what he's done, and they've won as many games as they have, and they're limping into the playoffs, much like the Winnipeg Jets. The first round in the North is going to be interesting, although there's some really nice matchups that are forming around the NHL. I mean, like to watch Boston play Pittsburgh first round, the Washington Capitals play the New York Islanders. It's gonna be some it's gonna be the Colorado series. Vegas is gonna play a good team. It's That first round is gonna be interesting. There could be some serious powerhouses out in the first round of the playoffs, going into the second round and not even close to a conference final. So, um, you know, if the right powerhouse gets eliminated, uh, it opens up for anybody to make a run, really, because I think that there's going to be a lot of injuries coming in this playoff round. I think with the way the NHL regular season is going and the way it's jacking up and the intensity is ramping up. What's happening is, you see a lot of guys get injured late in the season and people are going down left and right. So, you know, when everything gets ratcheted up in the playoffs, it could be the same thing, and God knows who's going to be injured, who's going to be healthy, and people are going into the playoffs nicked up. But, you know, all that aside, Leafs Nation, take this time, really soak this time in, because what you're seeing is probably the best Leaf team in the last 20 years. Um, I mean, I can't remember when the Leafs have been this good, this automatic. But the amount of injuries that they're dealing with, Matthews' wrist most of the season, and Freddie Anderson and the goaltending, and just, you know, Hyman being out and Galchenyuk stepping in, and Leafs trying to build him up. You know, Wayne Simmons broke his wrist, and Joe Thornton's been injured a couple of times. It's been an up and down season. It hasn't been pretty always, but the Leafs have done a lot to get to where they are now, and you really have to just soak this in. The Leafs are really good. What you're watching on the ice is probably one of the best products the Toronto Maple Leafs have put on the ice in the last 20 years. And, last night you see Austin Matthews score 40 goals, his 40th of the season. He scored 40 goals in 49 games. I don't know if you guys understand how epic that is. Like the talent, considering his injuries. I mean, his dad did an interview and they wrote about it in the newspaper. There was times where Matthews told his dad, I can't grip my stick. So, for him to put up the numbers that he has this season, above and beyond everything that he's gone through, it's been an amazing thing to watch. I haven't taken it lightly at all. Like, to be honest with you guys, every step of the way, whether it was 18 goals in 18 games, and then he got injured, and then he came back and started scoring again, and he got hot again, and then he missed a couple of games, and then he got hot again. I mean, you can't take this stuff for granted. Um, you know, we're seeing something very special here. It's something I never thought that there would be a Maple Leaf in my lifetime that had the ability to score 40 goals in 49 games and, be compared to a Mario Lemieux. It's unbelievable. I think everybody out there should just take a moment, soak this in, really understand what you're seeing right now, and there is no reason to go on social media and bitch about anything. The Leafs are a very good team. They have a lot of great pieces. They have some veterans. They have grit. They have a lot of great pieces. And they've been in first place longer than any other team in the NHL this year. So, really, there's nothing to complain about. Don't be one of these toxic hockey fans that goes online and complains about, oh, Nylander, what were you doing on that goal? Listen, mistakes happen and goals get scored. But when your team is winning 4-1, 4-1, 4-1, 5-1, 4-1, 5-2, there is nothing to complain about. Understand that. There is no reason for you to go online and start harping any one of the Toronto Maple Leafs players. There's no defenseman throwing pizzas up the ice. Um, it's been a while that, other than those two games against Vancouver where Jack Campbell and Riddick weren't all that good. Other than that, Leafs goaltending has been good. No crazy bad goals. The Leafs are winning a lot of games. Um, and they're doing it with Riddick in net. They're doing it with Campbell in net. They're doing it while they're resting guys and they're not resting guys, and they're lowering people's minutes in game to keep them a little bit more rested. I mean, it's nuts. I was just looking at the time on ice. Like Tavares played 18 minutes, Nylander played 18 minutes, Matthews is playing 19 minutes. Like in game, their time on ice is coming down to keep these guys fresher, and they're rolling four lines because they can beat anybody rolling four lines. All the fourth line proves that they can score with Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza, and the third line, Mikheyev scored a beautiful goal last night. I don't know why they took it off. His toe was in the crease. Nonsense. Nonsense. How many times has a guy been in the crease on top of our goaltender who's been hurt as a result of the play, but the goals have counted? I mean, sheer stupidity why the NHL calls the stuff that they do sometimes. Like phantom high sticks, and Montreal gets a lot of power plays, but God forbid the Leafs should get one. I mean, like, come on. It's unbelievable the shit that goes on the ice, and the referees call and they don't call. It makes no sense. But the Leafs persevere. They win when they should win. Montreal's a shit team, so the Toronto Maple Leafs are going out there and they're obliterating teams that they should be. Everyone's clicking. Everyone's doing great. I got nothing but love for everything that's going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Freddie just played a half a game with the Marlies, and he felt fine. So he's going to play a full game tomorrow, which is Saturday, with the Marlies. And the next step after that is to play a full game with the Leafs. Hopefully, he can get into 1 or 2 games to end the season. Um, the Leafs have 2 games next week before the regular season schedule ends. So if Freddie plays 1 or 2, at this point, they know he's healthy. They just need to get his timing back and shake some of the rust off and get him ready for the playoffs. The Leafs are going to need both goaltenders, as you've seen from history, whether it's Pittsburgh or uh, New Jersey, Boston. No matter who the team is, when you go on a long cup run, you need 2 goaltenders. Pittsburgh used Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray, and Boston Bruins have Halak and they have Rask. I mean, other than the Tampa Bay Lightning, who just ran with Andrei Vasilevsky, everybody has used 2 goalies. To get Washington used 2 goalies. You guys remember Holtby didn't start the playoffs, that playoff run to the cup, but he got back in there, and then he got hot. So at the end of the day, you need 2 good options. Whether someone's not feeling it that night and you give up too early, but you put the other guy in net and he stabilizes the team, maybe there's a comeback. You need 2 goaltenders. To say it's just one guy's net is not the case. It's not like that in the real world. It doesn't work like that in hockey most of the time. It's very rare that a guy like Martin Brodeur or Patrick Waugh or Andrei Vasilevsky runs with the whole thing all season. If you're a true Leaf fan and you love your team and you want them to win, they need 2 healthy, great options. And so when it comes to Frederik Andersen, you want him to get healthy. You want him to be ready for the playoffs in case you need him. He might not be the starter game 1, but he could be the guy who finishes the series. You don't know it. It's just there's too many factors in the equation, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So you need 2 healthy options in net. And if you had to choose between Rittich and Michael Hutchinson or Frederik Andersen, you're going to go with Frederik Andersen every single time. This guy's got the pedigree to be a #1 goalie. He's won awards in the NHL. He's won playoff rounds in the NHL. Something that none of these other goalies in Toronto have done. So at the end of the day, he's got the pedigree, he's got the history, he's got the resume. So you want him to be healthy and you want him to be one of the 2 options in net. Doesn't matter who you start game 1, because it might not be the same guy in net game 5, game 6, game 7. You just don't know. So all I got to say is I'm having a great time. The Leafs are putting up one of the best seasons. I mean, Austin Matthews is unreal. It's a treat to watch the game every night when I turn on the TV. I got 0 butterflies in my stomach. People tweeting last night when the Leafs were up 4-0 that they all put money down just in case the Leafs gave up a 4-goal lead. You know what? Leaf fans are some of the most weak-minded people I've ever seen. They don't get over nothing. You're like the worst ex-girlfriend a guy could ever have. Get over it, man. This team is good. This team is good, and they're not going to lose to shit teams like the Montreal Canadiens on a regular basis. The Toronto Maple Leafs have won the season series against every team in the North Division, whether it's versus 100-point Connor McDavid or it's versus Mike Sharfley and Blake Wheeler. It doesn't matter who you put on the ice. The Leafs are that good. They're dismantling this division, and they are the clear best team in Canada. So if you want to go on Twitter and you want to be one of those guys who you think you're funny, I vomit when I see stupid shit like that on Twitter. You guys are you have literally no original thought in your head when you tweet something like that. Oh, and don't think it's not like the media people do the same. The media people do the same stuff. Whether you work for TSN or Sportsnet, they're putting the same stupid shit on Twitter that you are. And that's what makes you feel like you can do that. They are just hot-headed, spurned Leaf fans just like you. People who can't get over a simple loss. If you can't get over a simple loss, bro, move on from sports. It's not for you, man. It's not for you. You're harping on over something that happened 4 or 5 years ago. You need to go get a hobby or a life or something, because the Leafs team that's today is not that team. It's fact. So if you're a toxic sports fan, or if you're a toxic Leafs fan, just move on. Just move on to a different team, a different sport, or just walk away from sports altogether. I don't think you get it. I think, see, sports is something that's unique. Every time you turn on the TV to an NFL game, an MLB game, an NHL game, or an NBA game, you're watching original content. You don't know what can happen. You could see a 500-foot home run. You could see records being broken, history being made, and that's why you watch sports, because it's unique every time you watch it. But if you watch sports thinking of something that happened 5 years ago and thinking the exact same thing is going to happen in front of you, then you don't get sports. You need to walk away from sports. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to your mental health. Get over it. Just get over it. It's really not that big of a deal. You don't own any stakes you don't own a stake in the Toronto Maple Leafs. You don't make money whether they win or lose. Yes, we get happy or sad based on win or loss, but you move on. I wake up the next day, the sun is out, the birds are chirping, and I go on about my day. I am probably the biggest Leafs fan there is, as is evidenced by these two things. I've taken a lot of time out of my day to design things like this, and a lot of money has gone into making these things. Makes me a Leaf fan, but I don't care about what happened 4 or 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. It's not the same team. Sports is original content. That's why I watch it. It's not like a TV show where you watch 10 seasons and then there's reruns for 10 more seasons, and then you're watching the same thing over and over again. Sports is original content. Let the past go. Let what's happening today in front of you happen in front of you today. It's not the same situation. Get ready for the playoffs. It's going to be a fun ride. I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be going live. We can chat during the games. We can chat after the games. You know, we can have a lot of interesting conversations and just enjoy the positivity. It doesn't get much better than this. If you think the Leafs are going to get better than this, or if there's another ceiling, I don't think so. I think this is it. I think the Leafs are what they are, and right now they're a really good team. They're a contender, and they're going to go for it. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But win or lose, the Leafs don't get any better or worse than this. You don't erase a regular season just because you had a couple of bad playoff games. But, we have some players that haven't had good playoffs, and we need everyone to step up, and I think that's what's happening right now. So enjoy your day. It's sunny outside in Toronto, which is great. We haven't seen the sun in a while. And there's a big game Saturday against Montreal. And we're playing Winnipeg next week too. So playoff previews, we're either playing Montreal or we're playing Winnipeg. At this point, it looks like we're playing Montreal, but playoff previews all around. Take care. We'll see you soon after Saturday's game. Take care.